So hello and welcome. Welcome to K-Fair 2019. Welcome at BASF booth. It's now 2 p.m. and this is our second tech talk of today under the subject Sustainable Solution for Plasticulture. In addressing this topic, I have two experts here with me from plastic additives business. Montse Guillamon, who is business and market developer, and Manuele Vitali, who is the agriculture plastics expert. So thank you both for being here, talking about that topic. The stage is yours. Have fun.
Thank you, Alexander, for your introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to our expert talk. So I am Manuele Vitali. Besides being agricultural plastics expert, I work in the Global Competence Center Film and Tape.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Montse Guillamon. As he said, I'm business developer and marketing manager for EMEA region, only for agriculture industry, which is enough. We both, Manuel and myself, belong to the plastic additives business unit of BASF.
So, okay, we are going to talk about Tinuvin NOR 356, our new product, which is a new chemical entity that features all the benefits from BASF NOR technology, which means excellent light and long thermal stability performance, low interaction with other additives like pigments, for example, and high resistance to critical levels of chemical contamination. Tinuvin NOR 356 has been tested in large-scale trials since the early beginning of its development, both at research institutes and the major player in the market, with the most extensive field trials since 2016. Now it is already globally, commercially available, and to support our concept of a sustainable plasticulture.
In agriculture nowadays, there are four big realities. One is the challenging conditions, increasing requirements for agriculture films, organic farming, and sustainability. I will develop all the topics later on. First one is challenging conditions around the world. We all know we will need to feed a hungry planet. By 2050, there will be more than 9,000 billion people in the world, together with increasing climate change. Climate change means increased UV radiation, less arable land, water scarcity, and also raw material scarcity. Agriculture films will really play a key role here. Last but not least, we as consumers of fruits and vegetables, we are becoming more demanding consumers. We want to eat healthier vegetables, healthier fruits.
So Montse has mentioned increasing requirements for agricultural plastics. What does that mean? First of all, the agricultural film covers must have longer and longer durations. Their initial mechanical properties must be better and better, and these covers will be exposed to increasing levels of contaminants like chlorine and sulfur, and also the film may have enhanced features like, for example, improved optical properties.
Not only improved optical properties for the plants to grow, to develop, to create fruits and vegetables, but also optical properties for those insects living, like in the case of a greenhouse, inside the greenhouse, like pollinators and auxiliary insects.
Now, I am going to provide you with a couple of examples of the performance of our product, considering the requirements that are requested by this industry. So in this first example here, we have got a real scale example that was carried out in the southeast of Spain at the research institute, where a real greenhouse was covered with film covers containing NOR technology. This experiment was very harsh because there was no crop cultivation inside the greenhouse, so high temperature were reached along through the whole weathering of the films, and especially sublimated sulfur was used along the whole duration, so that at the end of the weathering, which lasted 3 years and a half, an average value of 6,000 ppm of sulfur and more were reached on the film. Now the chart is showing that besides the fact that the films were still integer at the end of the 3.5 years, the film containing Tinuvin NOR 356 had also better retention of the mechanical properties. In this second example, we have a different kind of experiment that was carried out in our lab in Italy, where we had contamination of chlorine. So here the films were subjected to artificial weathering, and from time to time we had treatments with an aqueous solution of bleach. And so reaching quite high levels, considering that this is chlorine, quite high levels of chlorine contamination. In this case, we see that by replacing 50% of a standard HALS with our new NOR 356, there is a clear boosting effect in the retention of the mechanical properties of the film.
Organic farming is the third reality that I mentioned in agriculture. What is organic farming? Organic farming is the trend in agriculture. What is it exactly? It's a sustainable way to grow, sustainable from social, economic, and environmental point of view. Tinuvin NOR 356 is compliant with organic farming. Why? We help the growers with the optimum light for pollinators and auxiliary insects. We mentioned that before. When we say pollinators, we mean those bees and bumblebees that do the pollination of the plants, so they create the crop, the fruit or the vegetable. And auxiliary insects. What are auxiliary insects? These are insects that are released inside the greenhouse, for example, that fight against pests. Pests like thrips, whitefly, New Delhi virus, aphids, etc. They also need to have good light to see and do what they have to do. We also help the farmer to be profitable. How? By, for instance, increasing the commercial, not the total, the commercial yield they have, by reducing the amount of early degradations, and also by reducing the plastic waste reduction, by reducing the plastic waste. As an example, we ran agronomic field trials in Cajamare Station 2 years, 2012, 2014, and we installed 2 films, one based on nickel quencher and the other one based on NOR technology, exact film characteristics and exposed to exact conditions. They found that under or inside the greenhouse with the NOR technology, with the NOR film, there was increased 7% light transmission. What were the consequences? Increased commercial yield, as you see in the 4 crops that we tested, tomato, melon, pepper, and cucumber. And very important, how did this turn into earnings for the farmer? So they estimated 4,000 additional earnings for the farmer per crop and per hectare. Last but not least, the nickel quencher film degraded much earlier than expected. Why? Because inside they used burnt sulfur. So that film, like the NOR, were exposed to a very high thermal stress and very high levels of sulfur. An early degradation is always an issue for a farmer. Why? Mainly because they have an unexpected expense they have to face, because they need to buy the film, remove the broken film, and install the new film. And then, when you have an early degradation of a greenhouse cover, the risk of pest penetration inside the greenhouse is very high, it's evident. So, if you are an organic farmer, what do you do? Do you use products that are not allowed to kill these pests? I mean, the organic farmer has to use auxiliary insects and elemental sulfur, nothing else. Or decide not to add more aggressive treatments and then let the crop, maybe lose the crop, let the crop die. Last topic, agriculture films must be sustainable. It's yes or yes. How do we contribute with the NOR 356 to sustainability of agriculture films? By reducing waste reduction. Manolo will tell you later. Water management. We can reduce up to 40% of water use by using, you see the picture up there, drip irrigation pipes. So they really apply to the plant the water the plant needs. These are made of plastic. Also, in silage films, you see the bear wraps over there. By increasing the lifetime of silage films, you can store food for a longer period of time. Remember, we need to feed a hungry planet. And finally, plastic recycling. Greenhouse covers protected with Tinuvin NOR 356 have good, I would say decent, mechanical properties at the end of their theoretical lifetime. What does that mean? That they can be recollected and then recycled. And then, in other words, to give the greenhouse cover a second life.
Our contribution to sustainable plasticulture in terms of plastic waste reduction can be clearly seen in this chart. If we extend the duration of the greenhouse film cover from 1 year to 2 years, there will be a consumption of 25% less of plastic. If we extend further the plastic film from 1 year to 3 years, the reduction will be of 60%. Now, of course, it's not only a matter of reduction of material, it's also a matter of cost reduction.
Correct. It also has, the increased duration of the film has also an impact, please, Manuela, thank you, on farmers' expenses on film costs. So, in other words, the longer the film lasts, the less expenses the farmer has. Not only to purchase the film, but also to remove the old films and to install the new films. Tinuvin NOR 356, again, is our sustainable solution to any agriculture plastic that are typically exposed to very high levels of UV radiation, thermal stress, and chemicals like chlorine used for soil disinfection, and sulfur. I mentioned before, sulfur, elemental sulfur is the only product allowed in organic farming to treat diseases. 356 NOR has been traditionally used in greenhouse covers. But nowadays, due to the increasing levels of sulfurs that we find, it's also used in agricultural plastic like substrate bags, mulch films, tunnel films. Who knows, the future maybe will be used in other applications too, like silage and non-woven, for instance. And I think this is it. We thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.
If you have questions, comments, need further discussions, Manuela and myself will be around or in our plastic additive corner in the booth. Thank you very much.